I mean, boys, we're in Bali. I mean, it's taken us a bit of a journey to get here, but I think it's awesome to actually reflect on how we actually got to this stage. Introduce everyone to like what we did to actually get to this stage and our sort of stories. So, Cam, I'd love for you to kick it off, man.
In terms of getting to Bali, or just like my whole journey? Getting to Bali.
I guess in terms of actually like your journey to like being able to live remotely and work remotely.
Yeah, well, I guess I started off like working in the film industry, which felt like really cool at the time, but I just felt like super like overworked and was never really able to do the things that I wanted to do, and that's kind of when I stumbled across like online stuff, which was originally like the agency sort of model. I did the agency model for a bit, and then it didn't really work out too well. So then I kind of stumbled across high ticket sales. I got kind of like cold DM'd from this guy on Facebook, and it was like a sales program that I first got into, and I landed in that, and then that kind of took off, and I went from offer to offer to offer, and then I landed on this offer, met these boys, and got flown out for a company trip, loved it here, and we all moved over. So we've been here like a month now, 4 weeks.
Bang.
4 weeks. Bang.
Yeah, don't plan on leaving for a while. It's good. Enjoy here.
Bro, that's hectic. So like, you've actually been on like a long ass journey in terms like of actually getting here, right?
Yeah.
So I guess for you, like, what's probably been like the biggest takeaway or a piece of advice that you can actually give someone that wants to like get into working remotely, living away, living in Bali, like to get to that stage?
I would say it's just like not like as cliche as it sounds, just like not giving up, because like I was making no money doing this sort of stuff for so long, and I literally could feel like the point of like wanting to give up, and I'm like, this is where like most people just give up and be like, nah, it's too hard. Making money online doesn't work. It doesn't exist. But I had no other choice. Like I literally had no other choice but to figure it out at that time. I'd already committed to it. I'd already left my job in the film industry, had like no real qualifications to go back and try and get a different job. I just like had to make it work. And through enough consistency, just like showing up every day, and just do it, like thinking outside the box and just trying to be different and trying to find different ways to get better and just connecting and meeting a bunch of people in the industry was the only way to get to where I got to. I just didn't have a choice. I think that's the biggest thing, is just almost back yourself into a wall where you don't have another option but to like figure it out. And just stay consistent, because everything works. I think people just give up too easily. And I think like if you think to yourself, it's going to be easy, like I'm going to be able to make all this money so quickly, I'll just do drop shipping for a month, or I'll do, this and that for like 2 months, and I'll be able to make a lot of money. It's like, you're thinking way too short of a time frame. You just got to play the long game, and it'll all work out as long as you're actually putting in the inputs. You'll eventually get the result you're looking for.
So when you did the agency, what was the mindset when you came into it without like knowing what you know today?
Mindset specifically on what?
In terms of like your expectations of results.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
What were you coming into it?
And that's the thing. I thought I was going to be able to get to like 10K a month with my agency in like 2 months. That's like what a beginner's mindset is. Because I think it's just like the hustle porn you watch. You know what I'm saying? Like when you first get into the online space, you watch like an Iman Ghazi video, or you like, buy some course, and you just get these like super unrealistic expectations of like, you can make 10K a month in like 2 months. It doesn't take that long. And that's kind of what I got into. And I think that's why people give up so easily, because they come in thinking they're going to make shit tons of money in like a couple of months. And then when they don't see results, it's like they just give up. I think the biggest thing is like focusing on the skills. Like that's the number one thing. Focus on the skills, and the money will like come after. But most people just focus on the money when they start, and that's why they give up, because they don't see money. When really should be focusing on like getting better as like a person, like skills.
100%. I think it's interesting how everyone in the online space, literally everyone has either tried an agency or dropshipping. Like for me, it was dropshipping, and got to the point where everything was set up, nearly launched the site, and I just gave up. Like I get like 1 month at it. And I think everyone just tried dropshipping. I don't know if that's just me, but like I feel like e-commerce is like the king of online money making, and everyone just tries it. But it's the most deceiving for sure.
I wonder what the percentage of people who start drop shipping but give up before they even launch the store. Do you know what I'm talking about? I reckon
Yeah.
that's like 95% of people.
Literally.
Well, that was like me. Like I love the idea of like drop shipping and getting into that like e-com side of things, but I didn't even know how to start. Like I watched all these videos and in my head I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna get fucking rich off it. But realistically, I never even took the first step. I didn't even start. So I gave up before I even started. Even like made my Shopify store. Like I was cooked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess like Ryan, what was sort of your experience? Because you've had a bit of a different journey to Cam as well.
Yeah. My experience in terms of the whole kind of
Making money
journey.
online from the
Yeah,
start.
making money online.
Yeah, so I had a few mates that did dropshipping when I was in school, and it was always like a cool thought, you know, like earning money online, earning a lot of money, but I didn't really have like a vision. I think I didn't get into on the online money first. I got into self-development first. So I tried online money, but I didn't have the actual mindset to even get it started. That's how complacent I was. Like I'd look at dropshipping, I'd look at like maybe a half an hour video of how to get your website started, but I never actually had the mindset to even like open a Shopify like account. Like that's how complacent I was.
I'm curious on the mindset stuff. What was your first, not mindset, like self-development stuff. What was like your first thing you got into, first like person you watched, first video that like cracked that like rabbit hole for you?
I think it was Brian Tracy, bro. Brian Tracy's been like a massive like needle mover for me, like along my journey. There's a few people, bro. Brian Tracy, Alex Hormozy, Tony Robbins in like the early days. Everyone just knows Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
Like, everyone knows his voice. That's a good question, bro. Who was it for you? Iman?
In terms of mindset stuff, there's a lot of things. Like Hamza, I would say. Hamza was like one of them.
Yeah.
As like cringe as that kind of is, I think he used to be more cringe. He's not as much now, but Aman was, he wasn't so much mindset stuff. He was more, I mean, I always felt like I was going to make online money work at some point in my life. Like I felt I knew that from early on. I think I've always been into self-development stuff.
Yeah.
I don't even really know what the first person I like really got into was. Do you have any, like what was your first experience in terms of like self-development?
Mine's like super different to you guys. Like I didn't really know anything about online stuff when I got in. I just had the dream that I wanted to, like it was very clear in my mind where I wanted to be, but I had no idea how to get there. And pretty much the end goal for me was actually living remotely, working with an income, having an income stream that I could take anywhere around the world. I just had no idea how to do it.
When did you have that goal?
From a young age. Like originally, I wanted to, the reason why I got into real estate in the first place was because I had a dream when I was a kid that in order to make this passive sort of income, like I was going to buy a house and then rent it out, and then buy another house and rent it out, and then like obviously have like just live off the income. That way I was going to get rich quick, or like over time, in like a 10, 15 year gap. Obviously much harder to buy a house than what little Sione actually bought. So that's when I got into real estate, because from a young age, I wanted to do this dream. I had this dream, but I was like, I actually don't even know how to buy a house. How the fuck am I going to
Did you read Rich Dad Poor Dad? Did someone recommend that to you?
I have read that.
Yeah.
It's a really great book. One of my buddies from home actually recommended me that. But yeah, that's why I got into real estate, because I didn't know how to buy a house. And I was like, when I get to that stage, I don't want to be like one of those people that's like, go to a house inspection and a real estate agent just fucks them over. I was like, no, I'm not going to be like that. I want to learn the property market. And that's what actually made me go into real estate.
Was there anyone in specific that like inspired you to make real estate the thing? Or did you kind of already just like associate just from general life that like to make money, it was like real estate was the way to go?
I'd seen lots of real estate agents in my area, driving cars, their faces on billboards and signs and all those sort of things. And like in my eyes, like my perception of real estate agent was like class. They have a nice car, they have the suit on, they speak well, they know how to talk to people, and they have a lot of confidence. I think that was like the biggest thing that I took away from my perception of real estate agents. I didn't see like a scummy side to them or anything like that. I was like, bro, these guys make money and they do it while they look good. I was like, I want to be that guy. So that's why I transitioned. And it also helped that like my footy coach at the time, he was like a partner in Rain and Horn, which is like the agency that I started off at. So, and he was like nagging me. He was like, dude, you're going to be great at sales. Like you need to come work for me. I was like, oh, like, I don't know, man. I'm working at the pub at the moment. Like I'm just cruising. I'm partying every weekend. I was like, I'm sweet. I like just hopped out of school. I was going to uni for like 6 months. But then from there, one day I was just like, I sort of had a moment. I was just like, oh, I need to do something with my life. I need to make a change. And then that was the change I decided to do. And then originally, I thought real estate was just like people come to you and then you sell their house. I was like, this is like piss easy. Why doesn't everyone do this? Little did I know that I was going to be sitting on a phone for like 9 hours a day, just calling random numbers, cold calling, and knocking on doors and all that sort of prospecting. So that was like a really rude awakening. But yeah, that was essentially like how I got into real estate, which lasted like close to 3 years. 3 years in selling, and then obviously transitioning into this to work a little bit more remotely.
Remote even wasn't a big thing for me when I first got into this space. Was it for you? Like I never really cared too much about being remote.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make good money.
Yeah.
And just, I think not working 9 to 5, I think was my biggest thing.
Yeah, that was the same thing with me. Because like I was working in grubby like job sites.
Yeah.
Like my work environment was not the cleanest, not the nicest. So like working in an office seemed like luxury. Like aircon, clean clothes, not sweating. Like you've got access to like a fridge. Like that was like luxury to me, bro.
Was there a reason why you didn't go and move into like a regular office job?
I wasn't really like a book smart kind of person. And to me, there was no like options of like well-paying office jobs that made sense. Like I was very like a surface level kind of career-minded person. It was either like, you know, typical jobs or like construction or real estate. For me, I wanted to go down that real estate route, but it just never really happened. What about you? What was it like in terms of like a 9 to 5? Like what was your mindset coming out of school in terms of like what you thought you were going to do?
Yeah, well, I always thought I was going to get into, like, I was going to be like a director or like a full-time video editor, something in the film industry, which I basically did. Like, I don't think I've ever worked, no, I obviously have worked like a proper 9 to 5, but I never went down like a career of like 9 to 5 was going to be like the thing for me. I just worked like random jobs leading up to like going to film school, like working like, you know, like retail stores and like the cinemas and like bar jobs and stuff like that. But I steered very far away from like going to like a university. Like I did not want to go down that route early on. And then I ended up being in the film industry and it wasn't what I fucking dreamed of. And I just wanted to be able to make more money. And I think, yeah, coming into the online space, it was just like the fact that you could earn uncapped money. It was like, I need to do that. Like I want the freedom of being able to like choose when I work, having like the ability to actually earn as much as I wanted and not like working for someone else without being able to progress in my like own way. So that was like my biggest thing.
100%. Who was the first person that you saw in terms of online like business, online money? Or what was like the first business model? Do you remember a moment that you opened your mind up to online business?
I think I've always been open to it. I always like from the start, like I always knew dropshipping was a thing. And I was like, I'm going to like, I remember thinking to myself, like, I'm never going to be a normal person that works like a 9 to 5. I was thinking like, even if I get stuck in one, I'm going to be like hustling, like after work, before work. Like I will always be different and always like be in something that like no one's in.
Dude, that's super interesting. Where did that belief actually come from? Because it sounds like it was probably instilled from like a younger age.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I think it's funny because my dad is very like 9 to 5-y. And my mum was very like the opposite of 9 to 5-y. Like there was a point in my life where my mum and dad like built a cafe together and they like split up and basically ruined their marriage. My mum decided like 9 to 5 is not for me, and she went into like kind of the other side of life where she was doing like coaching, and my dad went and worked at like a kiwi fruit shipping company. So like they both split up, and I think I just saw like the two roads in life. I literally saw my dad go to like the 9 to 5 working for a shipping company, my mum going I'm going to start my own business, I'm going to figure it out, I'm going to do this and that. and I'm not going to work. Like, I'm not going to live a normal life. And I was like, looked at it and I was like, what one do I want to do? I was like, I'm going to do that. I don't know how I'm going to do it or what it's going to be, like what niche it's going to be, what field it's going to be in, but it's like, I can choose a path and it's like, that's the path I want to go. And I think from a young age, I was like, there's no other way. Like, I'll figure it out, whatever it is. Even if I have to start in the 9 to 5 route and then, you know, hustle my way to the other side, I'll figure it out. But I knew that I was never going to like end up staying there forever.
Wow, that's a crazy sort of thought process to have from like such a young age.
Yeah.
I guess, I don't know how it is in New Zealand. You could probably fill me in a little bit more, but I feel like Australia, and especially like where I grew up in Newcastle, like working online is like, it's like forbidden fruit, bro. Like no one does it. So it's like very like abstract to actually even like think about doing something like that. It's not like you can look up to someone that you can actually know do it like working online, because it's just like something that people don't do. They do like 9 to 5s. They work like trades jobs, office jobs, and just like a very like cruisy sort of lifestyle. And it was crazy because I saw this and I was like, oh, that's just how life is. Like, you just cruise, go to the beach on the weekends, like have coffee with a few friends in the morning, go to the gym. And it was like a nice lifestyle, but I got to a point very, very early on in my life where I was like, oh shit, I don't want this for the rest of my life. Like I want more. Like how do I get more? It was like the desire for wanting just a little bit, like wanting more from my life.
Yeah.
And like not wanting to stay in that like sort of like that sort of rat race.
I'm surprised because I feel like me and Ryan are similar. Like I'm sure it would have been like I didn't know anyone that made money online in person. It was just like online shit.
Yeah.
Like it was like seeing people make money online. I was like, okay, it's possible. Like I see these people online doing it. It's definitely possible. I never knew anyone in person. Like no one in New Zealand does this shit from like what I know. It was just like online content that I feel like just the rabbit holes you go down. I always knew there was a way to make it happen. I just knew that I would somehow
know how to do it.
Yeah. And I remember thinking at one point, I was like, I just wish there was like a way for someone to teach me how to do this. Like I didn't even know that like courses and coaching and mentorship was a thing. I was just like, I literally remember sitting there and being like, if someone could just say, this is how you do it, you just have to do this steps, and you be able to do this, then I would work every single hour of every day doing what they say so I could get the result. And now that that's like actually a thing that you can access, like you literally get a mentor that says, do this, this, and this, and you literally just have to do that, and that, and you'll get the result. It's crazy.
And I remember that feeling like so frustrated, not knowing what the first step was.
Yeah.
Like literally so frustrated. Brings me back to a feeling, bro. Also on the point with the 9 to 5, bro, I feel like the meaning of the words 9 to 5 has changed like over our life. Like when we hear the words 9 to 5, your body kind of like shrills up a little bit, you know what I mean? You kind of get a bit of a negative feeling. But when I was 12, like 13, 14, even 15, if someone said 9 to 5, that word doesn't have any meaning to it. It just means like life.
Yeah, there's a different perception of it.
Yeah, but as you grow up, like the words 9 to 5, depending on what kind of person you are, obviously it like changes and has a different weight to it.
I think society has adapted, right? Like obviously with the way that like online works now, and like the amount of opportunities, like back then you didn't have that sort of stuff. Like you weren't actually able, you didn't have the ability to work online because the internet wasn't the way that it is now. So I guess like obviously times changes, and like obviously like the meaning of words and like the perception that society gives it, like it adapts over time. So like 100%. Back then 9 to 5 was like, it was just a normal thing. Like, oh, it's just like, it's work. But now it's like 9 to 5, it's like shunned almost. Like I want to leave my 9 to 5. Like the people that we speak to on a daily basis, it's like,
yeah, they're almost ashamed that they say, oh, I work a 9 to 5.
It's that feeling of like being trapped to an office, trapped to a desk, trapped to a job site for like a required time, and like never really being able to like increase their income other than like a promotion, which can take like years. I think that's what scared me the most about like a 9 to 5 is like, it doesn't matter how hard I work, how much time I put in, if I stay back longer at the office, like realistically, they give me a salary and that's all you fucking get.
Yeah. Literally incentivizes you to like do the minimum amount of effort to get the same shit, which I can't imagine going back to now. you're literally being like incentivized. Like you literally think in your head, oh, if I do the minimum amount of effort, I still get the exact same outcome. Like
imagine how much we would be making if we put the same amount of effort in than when we were working an hourly wage job.
Yeah.
Like zero money. I don't know about you guys, but I was the most complacent. I was the worst employee ever. Like I'd be the type of guy that'd be on my phone, like, especially in my apprenticeship. Like my boss would send me on jobs and I'd be like around the corner, like on my phone. Like it's about milking it as much as possible.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much work. Like it would literally baffle me. Like some days I could be maybe in an aircon house, like, you know, and my boss would allow me to go on my phone for an hour. Cool, $18. Another day I could be in the fucking roof, like 45 degrees, like sweating my balls off, $18. Like the same amount of money. Like that just baffles me in my opinion.
What I found really interesting, like this was a really cool perspective to gain, like going from like a commission job like sales to back to like a regular sort of salary job. I had this sort of moment when I got out of real estate. I was in such a painful spot in my life where I had no direction. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do next. So I chased a passion, which was like fitness and like working like with a gym sort of aspect. So I went and started managing like a gym. I was working there for like, I don't know, like 7-8 months. But I was always only going to earn a certain amount. Like I signed a contract and that's how much I was going to get unless I got a promotion or something like that. But I was at like already the max, right? So it didn't matter how hard I worked, how many sales I got. Like I actually couldn't increase my income no matter how fucking hard I worked. So I could bust my ass one day, I could still get, as you mentioned, like $18 an hour.
How demotivating is that, bro?
That contrast between actually doing it and being in that situation, like it's fucking depressing. Like from coming from like where you can earn as much as you want, and it's just about like how much time and effort you put in and how skilled you are, to going to like, you know, you can be on the same level as another person and they do fuck all work, but you guys get the same income. And like that is depressing.
Agreed. But then again, I think as cool as it is, I think that's because we have a mindset of wanting more. I genuinely think some people are actually happier in a 9 to 5 than they would be trying to do a business. There's like a level of peace, especially if it's in a 9 to 5 that they actually like enjoy. I kind of respect the level of peace that they have just being like super comfortable.
100%, bro.
Because some people just aren't cut out for it. Like the amount of stress that comes with like running a business or like having a sales job where like you have to show up every day and actually perform to the next level. I don't think everyone's cut out for it. I think, I think some people just suit a 9 to 5 better and they probably actually would have a better life living that than doing more. As weird as it is, because I think we just all have very different mindsets to a lot of people, but there's definitely a level of peace that people kind of need.
Yeah. I feel like for us, we had similar like online journeys. What was that moment where you kind of had... What was that moment?
What was that moment?
What was that moment?
What's it called? It's like the learning curve. It's like uninformed pessimism. Like when did you get to that moment with online business?
Oh yeah, that's like really good. That with online business, that was with my agency. That's when I actually had to start doing sales calls.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like uninformed optimism, like, oh, I'm going to be able to like sign clients. I'll just hop on a sales call, 20 minutes, I'll be able to close them for like 1-2K on like a marketing service. And then you're like, shit, okay, how do I get leads? I'm like, all right, I actually got to cold call some people. And then you start picking up the phone and you go, fuck, this is really hard. Like now I have to try and find like people on real estate websites and call them up and try to get them on a Zoom call and then try have a Zoom sales call and then try to get like $1,000 off of them. And I remember I got like my first free trial client and, but I had no idea what I was doing. I was just like on Photoshop, just trying to like whip up like a Facebook ad. I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, oh, this is actually a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. And I also tried to get like a freelancer as well. I remember like having to get up at like 4 a.m. to like interview this like media buyer from like in America who was going to run these real estate ads. And it was this weird situation where I had to try and like get a client. Like I had to pay him, but also get a client at the same time. So like I had work for him to do because it's like I either pay him and I don't have a client yet, or I get a client and then I have no one to fulfill the service.
Yeah.
So like I needed to try and line them up where I could like give him money, but get that money from the client to then do it over because I didn't want to pay anything out of pocket. It's just like those things where you just like, you think it's going to be so easy and then you actually have to like get someone to pay you money for something and then you go, oh, there's actually a lot harder than
yeah, it's like, holy shit, people just don't want to give up their money for free.
Yeah, holy shit. And then I didn't even really know what sales was then. I didn't understand the depth of it. And now obviously from where I am now, I know that it's like, I could go back into my agency and I could crush it, bro. Like now that I know how to actually call someone, get them on a call and actually close them on a deal, I know that I could go back to the agency model and crush it. But yeah, that's like, I honestly just think it's just the hustle porn thing. It's just you get sold into it, making them like, because obviously that's how you get people into programs, is making them think it's super easy. Once you actually get into it and realize like it's not easy to actually make that kind of money, that's when you like hit that brick wall and you realize like how much work it actually takes to get there.
100%. I think a lot of people complain about the online money funnel as well. Obviously the large part of it is like Lamborghinis, money, mansions, and then it goes down and at the bottom is like you have to put a lot of work in.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think that's how it should be. Because I mean, for me, that's how I got into online business, like Lamborghinis, mansions, all of that shit. And then you end up realizing like it does require that work. And a lot of people just go, complain about it like it's perceived another way. But I mean, that's how it's meant to be, I feel like.
Yeah, it's like, like realistically in life, like, because you don't have to work online to get rich, right? Like there's so many different pathways to get rich. You can get rich doing fucking anything, right? But the one key factor, and obviously there's a few variables, like if you get like a massive inheritance from like a rich dad, but realistically, the values stay the same. Like in order to build an income, like you need to sacrifice like a really good income and become rich. Like you have to sacrifice fucking everything. Like you look at these entrepreneurs, you look at these millionaires, and it's funny, like there's this TikTok dude that goes around like interviewing millionaires. I'm not sure if you guys have seen him, but like he always asks like a question. It's like, have you ever been broke? And it's funny because they always laugh and they're always like, yeah, heaps of times. It's like that thing of like they've gone to it, like they get to a stage and then like something might go wrong, like their business might go bankrupt, right? But they've done that hard yards before that they're able to actually like redo all that work again because they know what it's been through. But like it's very hard for someone that hasn't been through that whole process yet of like working hard, sacrificing, not going out for dinner with the missus, right? Not hanging out with your mates, instead like actually locking yourself in the room and just working on your business or anything, right? It's very hard to teach that side of things. That's what I love about sales, is that like it's relentless, and like you learn that from very like early on in your career. It's like you need to hustle, like like no one's gonna make the call for you. Pick up the fucking phone.
100%.
I think the best thing about sales is it gives you such a simple way to realize how much work it is, because like you literally just need to call someone and you just have like the whole process laid out for you and you just like actually have to do the steps, and then you get to speak with people, and that's the other good thing about high ticket sales is you get to like meet the offer owners. Like no other business model, you really get to like meet high level entrepreneurs when you get into the space. I think high ticket sales is so cool because you get to talk to those offer owners. You get to see like firsthand how much work they're putting in to make the money that they make. That gives you like a whole different perspective shift compared to something like drop shipping where you have no contact with anyone. You're literally just like trying to figure it out on your own.
100%, bro.
Do you know what I find really interesting? And this is what I really struggled in when I was trying to get into high ticket sales myself. There is so much shit online about like, high ticket sales and high ticket closing and about all this like income, but there's never, like I never actually saw a direct pathway of how to actually get in. I'm not sure about like you guys, like, but for me personally, like I was like a lost like 22-year-old that had no idea how to actually get into this, but just knew that knew that I had a dream that was bigger than what I was doing at the moment. But I was never actually able to. I was very fortunate actually, like to get into this industry. Funnily enough, I got in through Shay, which is Jackson. He works with us. He's older brother, and essentially, like I actually had a connection with him from like real estate times. So he'd actually cold emailed me about like SMMA, and he was running like an agency, like a marketing, and his niche was real estate agents. he sent me a video. And funnily enough, at the time, I was like thinking of transitioning out of real estate. But he sent me this customized like Loom video, and it was so good and personalized that I was like, holy shit! Like I need to talk to this guy. So I booked in a call, knowing that like I'm leaving real estate, but I was like, I just need to run this guy's head. Like I need to. It was like a must. I remember I spoke to him. He tried to close me. It didn't work purely for the fact that I was just like, yeah, I'm like not really going to stay in real estate. I ended up staying in real estate for another like 6 months to 12 months. And during that time, we'd actually like kept in contact on Instagram. And he'd actually gone through this transition of going from like his marketing agency into high ticket sales and closing.
Yeah.
And I saw all this on Instagram as he was posting about it. And then what I actually saw on Instagram from him, I hadn't been in contact with him a few months go by, you lose contact sort of thing. But he was like moving to Argentina. And I was like, what? I remember messaging him. I'm like, dude, how did you get into this? Like, I want to get into it. And he actually like helped me out, point me in the right direction of like a community to join where you can find job opportunities from there. Entrepreneurs actually looking for setters and closers. But essentially, like he sent me a link and it was like to join that community. And it cost like 300 USD or something like that. It was really nothing. It was like $500, $600 AUD. And at the time, I had such a 1.0 mindset that when he sent it to me, I looked at it. I was like, oh yeah, like I guess, but what do I have to pay?
I was just on that quicker. It's so funny how you go from when you're in sales, like you think that like 300 USD is like, you're like that's nothing. What, like I would pay for that. No way. Like even if it was just like a little like bit of education, but like when you're in that 1.0 mindset, you're like $300.
Yeah.
For this thing, you're like fuck no.
It was crazy, man. Like the belief I had around paying for shit like that, I was like, why on earth would I pay for something like that? Like what if it's a scam? I was very, very skeptical, and I would have been a very hard prospect to actually sell back then. Jeez, because I had so many limiting beliefs. I'd never done it before. I was just very skeptical and nervous. And it's funny because Shay actually sent me like a voice note like a week later. I hadn't done anything with it. I just left the link there. And he sent me a voice note. He said, hey, I haven't heard from you. Dude, did you join Dealfield yet? I said, oh, no, I'm still thinking about it. You know, like, I'm definitely going to do it, dude. But like, yeah, I'm just thinking about it at the moment. He sent me back like a voice note. And it was essentially like unfiltered, bro. He was just like, don't do it. You're a fucking pussy. Like, you're not even going to make it in this. Like, don't even worry about it. Sweet. And that fucking hurt, bro. Like, cause that was like hitting me in like every single limiting belief of like that I had of like, I don't know if I can do this. And it was just confirming everything. Like that belief that I had in my, like deep down that I don't tell people of like, I don't think you can do this. And it was just confirming it. And in that moment, I was like, fuck it, I need to take a chance. I need to step into this new identity of a guy that can actually make money online, right? And that's like the first step, going into this and even testing it out. Like worst comes to worst, I lose like $600, like fuck all to me. So I did it, and funnily enough, bro, 4 weeks later, I land this offer, I land this interview, and 4 months later, we're in Bali together. 6 months, 7 months later down the track, we're sitting here on a couch, talking to each other about how we got into the industry. Like it's a real like pinch yourself moment. Yeah. Right. Like it's just crazy. Now we live together in like a hectic villa in Bali. We grind all the time, gym together, do life together. Like it's crazy. And you guys are some of my best mates. Like, and when did we actually meet in person?
Yeah, we've only known each other in person for what, 4 months?
4 months, yeah, not even like. It's November.
Yeah, 4 months, bro. So, like, that might seem a bit crazy to people, but when it works, it works. Like, you can't really describe it. Like, when you guys, like, when you meet people that are on the same trajectory as you, and you guys just click because you guys have the same vision in life, like, you don't even have to make it work. Like, you have so much in common that you guys just, like, it's just like, bang.
Bang.
Bang, bang.
Should we turn the light on? It's getting a bit dark.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to call it? You guys done?
Yeah, bro.
That was a good sesh, bro.
That was a great sesh.
That was a good little warm up.
That was a heaps good warm up, bro. How did you guys feel?